on and dress these clothes. Yes.
Okay, great. Okay, that's great. Let me hear from Adinsa what you're putting on. How would you describe it in Ethiopia?
Well, this clothes, the one that you can see, is
Yes.
particularly given for a cultural clothes, particularly for Gadar system. People who, especially Oromo people, Oromo community in Ethiopia, generally about more than half of the Ethiopian population is Oromo.
Okay.
They are using these flags. This is black,
Yes.
red,
Yes.
and white.
Yes.
It has a meaning. For example, the black one is a very infant age, young age.
Okay.
And the red one is the one that ready for ruling or making any decision for his countries, for everything.
Oh.
So this is very fire age. For instance, maybe from age 16 to 65, around there. So this is a workforce. Have you heard Gada system?
I'm
Gada
not sure.
system.
I'm not sure. I'm not sure. I'm not sure.
Yeah, this is actually the one that we call now democracies emanate from Gada system in the 16th century.
Okay.
The Oromo community is ruled by this system. They will transfer power without any conflict, without any kind of confrontation from one person to another person every 4 years. So it is the basic democratic system. So I think here now the Americans are ruled by democracy, the so-called democracy. Now, actually, I don't know in
yes,
in Africa.
They are ruled by the Democrats right now. Yes.
Yeah, but it's suspected that even America taken this democratic system from Gada system, from Oromo cultural system.
Wow. Wow.
Now, let me tell you the last one. Now, this black one is infant age. You need to take care of everything. For example, as a kids, you have to be given care of in every aspect. When you reach certain age, that means at the red stage, you are ready to defend for your country, for your culture, for your identity, for your everything. But when it reaches for the white one, you are ready to be taken care of. For example, someone retired from work, for example, when it's got 65 and above years. So this is a kind of color or a kind of system given for this ruling system.
Awesome, awesome, awesome. I can see a baby dressed up in a very wonderful, sweet, beautiful attire already. Baby, let's hear you. The significance of what you are putting on tonight.
King Abebe, King Abebe.
Oh, King Abebe.
Yes. Good evening, everyone.
Good evening. Good evening.
Good evening. Good evening, Minaba, and good evening, team. Nice to see you.
Yes,
sorry,
yes.
I had a problem. So I had some issues on connections. That's why I'm late. Sorry.
Yeah, we're glad to have you. So go ahead. Let's we're just taking our thoughts concerning the attires we put on. my brother, Whereas Patrick has told us he's from Cote d'Ivoire, and he showed us, that rapper kind of thing, how to tie it
Okay.
around. And this has also shared with us. So let's hear you too.
Okay, I think something is said by Dinsa. Ethiopia is a very diverse country. We have more than 80 languages and number of ethnic groups. So in that case, this is one of the dresses in Ethiopia, which we dress it for holiday, for some events or occasions.
That's awesome. That's awesome.
Yeah.
So you have a touch of white and a touch of red. Yes, where's
the cloth of Mr. Abebe is similar by the king of Thailand.
Thank you. This is handmade.
No wonder he said King Abebe.
Yeah, thank you.
Well, you look kingly as well. You look kingly, so it's
Yeah,
great to see you.
so we'll
Okay.
have a coronation today.
Yes. Oh, yes. Okay. We have Tabezu joining us. Tabezu, if you can see your kingly or princely attire or queenly attire, any of the ones, it would be great to see you as well. We have Carl Kamelin joining us. Carl Kamelin, we would like to see dressing from the Ashanti people of Ghana, if you are from that region. We also have Daniel Kote. Daniel Kote, let's also see your attire. Black in Remy, let's also see your attire. And then let's have a very beautiful, colorful session tonight, because we are talking about navigating cultural differences. The world we live in is a world where oh my beautiful, come on, can we give a hand, to Tabezu? Let's give a hand, let's wave her. She looks so beautiful. Oh my God. Let's make comments. Let's comment. Where's comment? Please comment on Tabezu before she goes ahead to say something. Whereas, can you hear me? Go ahead, make a comment on Tabezu. She looks so beautiful.
Etabezo was very beautiful, and she's dresses is similar that the altars of the kingdom of Morocco.
That's awesome. It's good to have you, Etabezu. Please unmute your mic and let's hear from you and describe what you're putting on for us and the significance of this particular attire.
Very much. Good evening, everyone. Sorry, there is a connection.
Okay, so
this is one of our cultural dress. As this has said that there are Ethiopia about 80 the cultural dress of Ethiopia.
Since we're having network connection issues with the Tabezu, can you hear us? Can you continue so we can? Oh, we are having network challenges. Tabezu, are you connected right now? Are you stable? Oh,
yes.
I think it's breaking. But all the same, Elizabeth looks so beautiful in her Ethiopian attire. That is the beautiful thing about culture. That is the beautiful thing about different locations. And that is the beautiful thing about our world. You are only a master of your culture. You are only a master of your culture. The reason this statement is true is because no two cultures are the same, even if you are in the same location. In as much as you have a multicultural society, you are only a master of your culture. So you can't tell someone else about his or her culture. You can only talk about your culture. And that is why the way we do things in Nigeria, the way we do things in Cote d'Ivoire, even in Ethiopia that has multicultural setting, it's not the same. And that is why it is important to learn the subject of global cultural differences, cultural awareness, cultural sensitivity, global cultures. Because you are in Ethiopia right now, Warriors is in Cote d'Ivoire right now. I'm in Nigeria right now. Black in Remy, possibly in Ghana. Carl Kamelin in Ghana. And we are all coming from different countries. But you see, the world of globalization has made it possible that we all come together, irrespective of our cultural differences, to speak, to conduct business, to have interactions. In order for the world to move forward, we need to be interdependent on each other at certain points in time. And in order for global movements to rise, global trade and global economics and global politics to work smoothly, there is need for the interdependence rather, of nations. No nation has it all. No nation has it all. There are some nations that have things that other nations don't have, and there are others that have things that other nations don't have. So when all of these people come together, how are we able to achieve a common goal? How are we able to achieve a common goal? How are we able to put our cultural differences aside and ensure that we interact first as humans? And that is why there are programs, there are courses, and there are subjects of learning that will enable us appreciate the cultural differences of the different countries we come from. I am putting on what is called Ankara in Nigeria. It is a regular Nigerian clothing, but then I've been able to make use of it into another kind of design. So you can be fashionable. In Nigeria, we are very fashionable people. We love fashion a lot. So we can make use of Ankara like this. I'm putting on this particular one right now, combine it with a number of colors and make a very, very beautiful fabric. I am not at home right now. If I was at home, I would have shown you one of the things that one of the particular attire that comes from my culture. I left home since morning, so I've not been home. I decided to do this before I get home, right? I would have shown you, you saw the picture I posted on the WhatsApp group where I was putting on a hat. Yes, that particular picture and that attire is a particular, is the cultural attire from where I come from, the tribe I come from in Nigeria, the Ijaw people. They're called the Ijaw people, all right? So if my plan was that if I'd gone home early, I would have been able to put that on and you will see my hats and then that attire and some of the beads around the chest region. You would have seen it. But then it's still okay that I'm still putting on Ankara, right? So it's this beautiful that we interact globally. And that is why businesses are spreading across the globe, irrespective of cultural differences. What do we do? How do we harness the global opportunities that are bound all around the world and not allowing cultural differences to be a stumbling block. That is the essence of understanding global differences. That is the essence of understanding global, that is the essence of learning global cultural differences. That's the essence of this class. All right. I'm so glad to see all of us. I want to see Carl. I want to see Kingsley. Let me see your faces. This class is not for spirits, it's for humans. Beautiful humans cut across different parts of the world. Ikena Okafo, I want to see your face as well and dressed in your Nigerian attire. Right? We've seen wonderful pictures already coming in, and it's awesome. Kingsley Kote, or Kingsley Owona, that's a Ghanaian name as well. Okay, that's a Ghanaian
Okay,
name.
I'll be showing my face very soon. I'll be showing my face very soon.
Okay, hope you will be dressed in your Ghanaian attire.
Of course.
Okay, Kingsley, please do that pretty soon so we can commence immediately. Tabezu is having network challenges. All right, so we can still continue while she is able to sort that out. Okay, so last class, can we do a brief summary of last class? Just a short one in 1 minute. Dinsa, you are the one live. So let me get your thoughts on last class before we go into what we have for tonight. Dinsa, unmute your mic. Dinsa, unmute your mic.
Yeah, okay, thank you so much. We experienced the order of preference, what we call order of precedence. These are simply the hierarchy or the rank that are going to be given for different dignitaries. For example, it could be the diplomats, or it could be the different governmental organization or different guests. It could be a guests actually. So we get some information regarding the order of precedence in the previous lesson.
Yes. Yes, thank you. Thank you so much, Dinsa. Any other person that would want to speak concerning previous lesson? What we learned in the previous class talking about order of precedence? What did you learn? What did you learn? Let's do it quickly. Let's do it quickly as we await others joining us. How many of us are in this class? Okay. So we talked about precedence last session. We talked about precedence in the last session, and like Dinsa said, it's all about the hierarchy. It's all about hierarchy, how you place VIPs, how you place persons, how you accord respect to people during events and whatever occasion that may arise. In as much as people are going to attend that event, the placement or sitting of those individuals during that event according to their rank or according to the role they play during the occasion. That is what we are talking about precedence. That's what precedence is all about. Hierarchy of officials, hierarchy of dignitaries, hierarchy of guests during an event. That is what precedence is all about. And we went ahead to take a look at precedence at different sectors, different precedence at different points, precedence at the point of presidents. When presidents gather, because they are all presidents, how do we show precedence? How do we show that we have given respect to all of these presidents in that occasion. And one of the methods, I want somebody to speak. This, if you can remember, if you can recall the lesson, when presidents are seated, can you mention one of the ways that precedence is used when presidents are gathered? We mentioned about two ways how precedence can be accorded. When presidents are gathered, how do we show precedence during presidents? Yes.
Thank you so much. Most of the time from our previous session, what we get is that the guests or the dignitaries or the diplomats or some other governmental officials are put on the right-hand side of the hostess. That is what they have said in the previous. There is a host, that means guest receiver. The person that are going to be visiting for certain events for that country should be put on the right-hand side of the hoster. That is what you have learned. Thank you.
Oh, all right, thank you very much. All right, that is talking about the principle of the right hand.
Right-hand side.
Yeah, the principle of the right hand for precedence. All right. Okay, that's just when you have a guest visiting your principal. Baby, you are live. Please, I asked the question, what is one of the ways that we can show precedence when presidents are gathered? When we have 15 presidents in an event, what is one of the ways we show precedence?
Okay, thank you, Minabai. In our last session, we have discussed that in such events when we have a gathering of heads of states or heads of government, one way of giving a seat for these leaders is the alphabet of their countries. For example, in the United Nations General Assembly, in African Union summits, we follow that principle where we put countries according to their official names. It can be starting from A, or sometimes we put them, even you raised the lot system where we make that exchange of alphabets.
Yes. Okay. All right. That is one method. That is one other method we talked about when presidents are gathered. How many of us remember the use of age?
Yes. Seniority, yes.
What about the use of the dates they were sworn into office? So those are some of the ways that precedents. Okay, Dinsa, you want to say something?
Yeah, it's about the presence of the declaration of the letter of, for example, if one ambassador is assigned to a given country, if he brought his letter, first, he will be given first. That is first come, first serve it.
Okay. Yes, that is how to show precedence when it comes to diplomats. That is how to show precedence when it comes to diplomats. But for presidents, we take a look at their age. Their age can determine how we also show precedence. The date of their office, when they took office, can also be a way of showing precedence. One other way we show precedence when presidents are gathered is according to the strategic, how strategic that meeting is. It is how strategic that meeting is that sometimes a president can give him precedence based on the importance of that meeting. Okay, I can see Moses Lawrence. Moses Lawrence, are you live? He just disappeared right now. Okay, I can see Lucien. All right, I can see Lucien. I can see Abe Ashong. Abe Ashong, are you joining us for the first time? Abe Ashong, if you're there, please unmute your mic and let's hear you and see your face as well. Abe Ashong.
Hello, sir. Greetings to you. Good evening.
Yes.
Yeah. It's rather unfortunate. I'm in the dark. But then it's not the first time joining you.
Okay.
But in the last meeting, I joined quite late.
All right.
But I heard some of the things that were shared in the last meeting has already been touched on. I'm hearing precedents, and I'm learning about how when presidents gather, sometimes you use their names, you arrange them in alphabetical order in terms of arrangement. And I think, was it Abebe said the most important person. I don't know if I'm wrong. Kindly correct me. That the chairperson or the most important person. There's a principle called right hand principle where you sit the chairperson on the right hand side of the host in terms of sitting arrangement. I hope I got that right.
Okay. Okay. So you did get some points. Okay, Abe, what I would advise you to do, and everybody here, what I would advise you to do, all of our sessions are uploaded on YouTube. So you could go to my YouTube channel, Minabai Seibofa. I think I posted the link on the group. I'll still post it. So if you missed any of the session, like this session, after this session, it will be posted on the YouTube channel where we can go back and learn again. So as far as YouTube still is in existence, this particular session will be live for the next 200 years, even after I am no more, because it has been recorded. So it would be a great deal of lesson for us if when we miss the class, we go back and rewatch the session, right? It's not a paid session, it's a free session. And once it's on YouTube, you have access to it anytime. So anybody that missed the Order of Precedence class, go back to YouTube channel and rewatch it. It's 1 hour long. Of course, that's the session of the class. It's going to give you very great insights on the things we learned. All right. So thank you so much, Abe Ashong, for joining us. Moses Lawrence is off again, and I can see a number of us. Kingsley Owona. Kingsley Owona, if you can hear me, unmute your mic and let's see your face. I hope you're not in dark too.
Well, good evening. Well, it's kind of fortunate myself. I was already dark, so all I can do is for you to hear my voice. But I'm sure I'll be in a subsequent. But I'm sure in a subsequent meetings that I'll be in a strategic location where I can also unmute. Turn on my video for you to see the face.
All right, so let's do well to go back to the YouTube channel and watch all of the sessions. All right, I can see Lucien. Lucien, good to have you. Lucien is joining us from Benin Republic, if I'm right. Lucien, can we see your face and can you say hi to the class? If you can hear me.
Yes, Mr. Minabai. How are you?
Fine, and you?
I'm fine.
So do us the pleasure of seeing your handsome face and your beautiful Benin Republic attire.
Let me show my face next. For next meeting, I will show my face.
Hopefully. Okay. So this is the announcement I'm going to make. The next session is going to be the last session. The next session is going to be the last session. So I encourage everyone that have been in this class that have not been showing their faces to at least show their faces so that we can take screenshots and we will see all of the members of cohort 1 of the virtual protocol mentorship session. The next session is going to be the last session, and it's going to be an amazing one. We're going to be spending time interacting and talking a lot. So it will be great for us to see our face and let us network and interact. Ghana connect to Ethiopia. Ethiopia connect to Benin Republic. Benin Republic connects to Nigeria. Nigeria connects to United States and America, connects all over the world. That is the essence of this class. Having said that, let's go to what we have today. Navigating global cultural differences. I hope I'll be able to share my screen today. I've done a number of work concerning this, and I hope I can share it. So let me share my screen, and hopefully we'll be able to see what we have today. Can you see anything there?
Yes, sir.
Yes.
All right. So
yes, thank you.
After I couldn't connect my system and everything again, I gave up on the system. I think I'm going to get a new one. I've been advised to get a new one. So I had to make this quickly, and it may not be the best of slides, but then we are able to view what I'm saying. So we are looking at navigating global cultural differences. One of the things I'm excited about this class is about the cultural differences, the cultural diversity that characterizes this class. We have people from 8 countries joining us: West Africa, East Africa, South America, and the America, joining us for this virtual protocol mentorship session. Of course, the introduction there, we are in an increasingly interconnected world. And because of this diversity, this connected world, the ability to navigate these different cultural perspectives has become not just important, but very important. So irrespective of who you are, whether you are a business professional or whether you are working and collaborating with international partners, whether you are traveling and exploring new places, or simply curious about seeking to broaden your horizons, understanding that we live in an interconnected world of diverse culture is very important. Very, very, very important. Like I said at the beginning, we live in an interdependent world. No nation is independent on its own. We live interdependently because what we have in Nigeria may not be in the United States, may not be in Ethiopia. Ethiopia may have what we don't have. So we all have this need to connect with each other so that trade, politics, cultural ideas can be shared. Because of the connectedness of the world today, there is need for us to have that skill, the ability to go through these cultures without misunderstanding, without offending, without making sure that, without ensuring that things are just to make sure that things go well. We need to learn that skill, and we need to come to a realization that we are connected and that there's nothing that can take away that interconnectivity. So for us to live peacefully, harmoniously, and make the world a better place, we need to learn and understand global cultural differences. We need to learn the diverse cultures. Why is it important for us to understand global cultural differences? We're talking about the world. Of course, culture has to do with the way of life, the way we see things, the way we do things, the way we act, that cuts across our dressing, our food, our interaction, our communication styles. It is an important aspect because it is really fundamental, and it affects how we see things. It affects how we do businesses. It affects how we relate with anybody. Are we getting it?
Yes, sir.
Are we following? Are we following?
Yes.
Well, true, sir.
Yes.
So,
okay.
Yes.
So cultural diversity is a fundamental aspect of our globalized world because it affects everything we do. And if we don't understand this, the next point says that misunderstandings will definitely occur. It says misunderstandings due to cultural differences can lead to conflicts, inefficiencies, and missed opportunities. Because I don't understand how the people in Cote d'Ivoire behave, not because I want to misunderstand them, but because I don't know their way of life, their communication styles and pattern, how they do businesses, how they relate with people, there's bound to be misunderstandings. And when I misunderstand you, it means that I can't flow with you. It means that whatever should bring progress will be hindered. So it's going to lead to missed opportunities. It's going to lead to conflicts. It's going to lead to bad business deals. It's going to lead to people seeing people from different perspectives. All right, we can mute our mics. 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 So, hello, can we hear us? Please, let's mute our mics. Let's do us the favor, do us the honor and privilege to mute our mics, all right? So we can hear very well. So, when we have misunderstandings due to cultural differences, it can lead to conflicts, it can lead to inefficiencies, and of course, missed opportunity. That's why as protocol professionals, as business professionals, it is important that we understand this and learn global cultural differences. So what is culture? Of course, it encompasses a wide range of elements, including language, traditions, customs, values, beliefs, and behaviors. The totality of the way a people think, of the way a people operate, of the way a people do business, of the way a people dress, of the way a people see certain things is what we understand as culture. And of course, when we understand culture, it is the key to recognizing and respecting differences. I was reading an article. I can't remember exactly the name of the person who wrote the article. But one thing I gleaned from that article is that we engage in conflict, or conflict happens not because we want, but because we misunderstand ourselves. So conflicts do not arise because it is necessary for it to arise. It only arises because we don't understand each other. So when we don't understand cultures, a number of things may go wrong. And that is why understanding culture and understanding culture is key to recognizing and respecting difference. If I don't understand the culture of the people from Cote d'Ivoire, if I don't understand the culture of the people from Benin Republic, or Ethiopia, or Ghana, I may not be able to respect them. Reason is because my culture is different. Maybe in your culture, what you do is totally acceptable. And culture deals with what is totally acceptable in a given society. So if something is acceptable in your society and you see it as a norm, as something that is natural, as part of your values, and I see it differently, or in my culture, it's not what we see. If I don't understand, that is the way of life that is expected of people from this culture I come in contact with, I will not be able to respect you. So when I see you, I begin to have prejudices about your culture. We'll talk about stereotypes as we go further. So understanding culture is key to recognizing and respecting differences. If I don't understand, I may not be able to respect and recognize these differences. So having said this, what are the factors that influence cultural differences? What are the factors? What are those things that make us have these differences? Geography, where we are, our locations often shape cultural practices and our preferences. So geography is a factor influencing cultural differences. There are some people who live around the Icelandic area, around the Antarctica area. There are people who live in mountainous regions. There are people who live in the desert regions. There are people who live in the mangrove regions. There are people who live in regions that are covered with seas. You can imagine that if you go to any of these places that is not your natural place, you will see that the way those people live is not the same in the environment you live. If you live in a mountainous region, you know the kind of houses you build in that region is not the same with people who live in deserts, in desert areas, in people who live at lowland areas, people who live in the mangrove forests. It's not the same. So geography is a factor influencing cultural differences. So we will always say no two culture is the same. The reason it is not the same is because of geography, one of the factors. The second factor is history. Every community, every nation has its own history, right? Historical events and experiences can deeply influence a culture's values and traditions. Culture's values and traditions. Dinsa was talking about the historical perspective. He mentioned a word using to describe the attire he was putting on, right? So history is also an influencing factor. Religion, religion. If your nation is a religious nation, the kind of religion you practice will also play a role in how you see culture. So there are people, there are nations that are predominantly Muslims. There are nations that are predominantly Christians. There are nations that are predominantly Hindus and every other kind of religion. Their way of life is determined by the religion they practice. So religious practices and beliefs play a significant role in cultural diversity. Language, language, language. No two countries speak the same language. They might be similar, but there is always a variety. So language is not just a means of communication. It reflects the cultural nuances of a community. So communication styles in different communities also play a role in cultural difference. Values and norms is also one of the factors influencing the cultural differences. And of course, differences in values, ethics, and social norms can lead to varying worldviews. Can lead to varying worldviews. Abebe shared a document with me, a number of documents with me. I'm going to share that in the class. Though I shared one, how many of us read those documents? How many of us read that particular document or went through it just to see? Let me see you in the chat. If you did, type in the chat, I did. If you did, type in the chat, I did. Type in the chat, I did. If you went through that document I posted on WhatsApp that was shared with me by a baby. If you did, type in the chat, I did. Let me see you. Let me see. Let me see. Let me see. If you did, type a D in the chat box. Now, if truly you did follow that, or you did go through that document I posted on the WhatsApp group, you will see it's telling you the etiquettes, especially in Africa. It is because of the diversity of the class that has a lot of Africans that I posted a particular one. It showed you how different cultures, how different countries behave in certain environments, how they behave. Yes, that map I shared, yes, that map. It will show you what happens in this country, what happens in this country, what happens in that country, across the 54 African states. So these are values and norms. So when you go to these societies and you don't understand some of these things, and when you see them do it and you laugh or you are shocked, you may be disrespecting people who practice such, because those are the norms and values and ethics, how these people show respect in that particular society. So these are some of the factors influencing cultural differences: your geography, your history, the religion, the language, then the values and norms. If you are learning, say, yes, I am. Type in the chat, yes, I am. If you are learning, type in the chat and say, yes, I am. Yes, let's do that quickly. Let's do that quickly. If you are learning, type in the chat and say, yes, I am. Great. I can see Black and Remy. Let me get one more. If you are learning, all right, I can see that coming in. Yes, yes, I can see that coming in. All right, great. So let's participate in the class, right? So we want to look at, after the factors influencing cultural differences. Well, these are 5 factors. There are other factors as well, but any of those factors may fall under these 5 factors: geography, history, religion, language, your values, and norms. And this is the totality of what we call culture, the totality of the people's way of life, right? So what is this impact? Why? How do we see this? What has it done so far? The impact of cultural diversity. Of course, we have seen cultural diversity in workplace. So we can stay in Nigeria here and work in the United States. We can stay in the United States and work in Ethiopia with people who are Ethiopian. I can stay here in Nigeria and work with someone who is in Cote d'Ivoire, who is in Benin Republic, who is in any part of the world. Okay, so while that may happen via online and remote work, people of different walks of life have traveled to different countries. So there are Nigerians working in Ethiopia, I guess. They may not be much, but there are Nigerians in Ethiopians doing business and working. There are Nigerians across the world working just as it is for other countrymen. There are Ghanaians in Nigeria working. I have come in contact with a number of Ghanaians working in Nigeria. There are people from different nationalities working in different parts of the world. The impact of cultural diversity is that we have seen cultural diversity in workplace, both remote and online. So we have seen people from India, we have seen people from all over the world working in nations, working with teams that has different cultural orientation from them. So in the global business, diverse teams brings various perspectives, but managing them effectively is important. And that is why this class, this lecture, or this particular subject, navigating global cultural differences, is important for business executives. It's important for business executives because the world is now a global village. We can stay at our different locations and access opportunities, and people, you can get contacted by people. What is happening right now is part of the impact and the diversity in the workplace. You are having this mentorship session as part of the impact in the workplace. So we now have diversity. After this class, I may choose a few of you to be part of my team because you have learned about cultural differences, global cultural differences. So it will not be difficult for me to work with you. It will not be difficult for you to work with me because we now understand this, and there are a number of things to do that will make us respect each other because we know our cultural differences, we know our norms, our values. But then because we are in a global business world, there are certain things that we just need to understand. So it has impacted the global workspace where we now see diverse teams, members from different countries in teams across the globe. So in global business, diverse teams bring various perspectives. Of course, how we think to do things in Nigeria may not be the same. So when we bring these different ideas from different cultural backgrounds, it gives us a better perspective and enables us to achieve very well. However, it can lead to conflict, and that's why the last part says that, but managing them, talking about managing the people from diverse backgrounds in the same team is very important. Is that okay?
Yes.
All right. So let's take a look at the next impact of cultural diversity. We have seen that in cultural differences in communication. Please go take a look at that map, or that etiquette map in Africa. We'll post that of Europe as well after this class and other regions in the world. Let's take a look at how these people communicate. So when you talk about communication, you are talking about both verbal and non-verbal. Communication styles such as direct versus indirect, they vary across cultures. And of course, it does affect the understanding of how we communicate. There are nations, there are cultures that these people, they are very direct. They speak direct to you. And there are nations that in their style of communication, they don't speak direct to you. So if you come from either of these nations and someone is speaking in such a manner that you are not familiar with or that you don't know about, you might misunderstand or misrepresent the person and not recognize that that is the person's pattern or that is the person's communication style. That is the person's communication style. So you might get offended. So when you understand these simple things of knowing that communication styles differ, The communication style in Africa, it has a lot of different styles, because Africa is a multi-ethnic society, and even the nations that are in Africa are still multi-ethnic again. So the communication style in the East may be different from the West, from the South, and from the North in your own country, based on where you come from. In Nigeria, we have 3 major regions, 3 major ethnic groups. There's the 4th largest also. So we have like 4. Though there are other tribes, but the Igbo, the Yoruba, the Hausa, these are the 3 major ones, and then the Ijaw as well. The way the Yoruba man speaks, the way the Yoruba man communicates, is not the way the Hausa man communicates. The way the Hausa man communicates is not the way the Igbo man communicates. The way the Igbo man communicates is not the way the Ijaw man communicates. The same is applied to other nations, to other countries, to other culture. So when you understand the communication styles of these people, it's part of the impact. When you understand the communication style, then we can have a very beautiful rapport. So it has made differences in communication. The non-verbal cues and verbal cues of country of Ethiopia may not be the verbal and non-verbal cues in Nigeria. It may not be that in Ghana. All right? I will still refer us to that map. That map is a very important map, and the baby did a good work to share that map with me. Right? So let's go take a look at that map. It will really show us a number of things. Okay, let's say the impact of cultural diversity. It comes with cultural differences in business etiquettes. Cultural differences in business etiquettes. The business etiquette of Nigeria is not the same with any other country. There might be similarities, but it's not entirely the same. Business practices, negotiation techniques, and meeting protocols can differ significantly. In fact, it is significant. So if you want to do business in Nigeria, for example, there's a business pattern. We here in Nigeria, we get to know you a little bit. So when you want to do business, we don't just rush to do business with you. Not because we are too strict, but because that is, that is the business approach. Go and read my article. Go and read my article on Nigeria's multicultural perspective. It's on World Protocol Magazine, and it's on my LinkedIn channel as well. Go and read that, and you will learn about doing business in Nigeria. I may not be able to explain all of this, so you can go there and read that article, Nigeria's multicultural perspective, right? Go read that article on World Protocol Magazine and LinkedIn as well. You will see some of the highlights there. But the point is, there is a pattern of doing business. In Nigeria, here, if you see a man, if you see a business or an organization that is time conscious, then you should be glad that you met an organization that is time conscious. Otherwise, time here is that I don't know if you're familiar with the phrase African time. Is anyone familiar with the phrase? If you're familiar with the phrase, type in the chat African time. If you're familiar with the phrase chat, put in the chat African time. African time. Put in the chat African time. Put in the chat African time if you're familiar with this phrase. If you're familiar with this phrase, put in the chat African time. African time. Do you know why it is called African time? Do you know why it is called, thank you, arrive fashionably late? Yes. Do you know why it is called African time? Because in the business etiquette, in the business culture of most African countries, time is not a priceless commodity when it comes to business meetings. So if you come to any of these countries or any of these nations that don't see time as that's very important, then you might be offended. But your offense uh, is 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 being misplaced, so to speak, respectfully. What you have not done is because you have not researched what it means to do business in this particular country. And one of the things to expect when you do business in this country is that your meetings, if it is stated for 3 p.m., may not start exactly 3 p.m. How many of us do African time? How many of us do African time? Or how many of you have experienced African time?
Yeah, we have experienced it.
So it's a common thing in Africa, is it not?
Yeah, it's a common.
So if someone,
for instance, in Ethiopia,
yes,
someone is appointed or make appointment at 2 p.m. Later on, that person may come at 3 p.m. after 1 hour. Thank you.
All right, thank you very much. That is what we are saying. That is the cultural difference in business etiquette, right? So if you are in Africa and you arrive fashionably late and you do business with another person from a country that is very time conscious, and you still take your African fashionably late time to attend such business, there will be conflict and misunderstanding. So before you do business in any other country, apart from your country, as a business professional, you now have to meet business protocol specialists, people who understand global cultural differences. And they will tell you when you want to do business in Ethiopia, please be reminded that 3 p.m. may not exactly be 3 p.m. Just give yourself some flexibility, all right, to adapt. Cultural differences in social interactions, of course, the way we greet, the way we do our social events, the gestures we put on are often laden with cultural significance, right? I was reading that map. I think in one of the countries, when you shake with your right hand, you put your left hand under the shoulder that you used to shake. I think one other country again, when you shake, you put your left hand on your chest and do a slight bow. Please, I want us to go read that map. It's part of what we're discussing. All right. So the way we greet, the way we shake, it's not the same. So we need to understand that that is the impact of cultural diversity. The greetings, the gestures. Do you know thumbs up may not be thumbs up in some countries? Some other countries, thumbs up may mean flagging of taxi. Some other countries, thumbs up may mean something else. Some other countries, thumbs up may mean something that is not what you know in your country. So when you go to that country and begin to do thumbs up, if that is offensive in that country, then you have offended that person because you lack cultural awareness skills and cultural sensitivity skills. So that map will show us a lot of the cultural differences, the things we should do and the things we should not do when you visit people, when you go to social gathering and events. If the host doesn't start eating, you don't start eating in some societies. So you need to understand these particular things so that you will not offend people, right? Of course, cultural sensitivity and competence are what we're saying here is that cultural sensitivity fosters respect and openness in cross-cultural encounters. When people from different cultures come together, the sensitivity you have about other people's culture fosters a very, very, very beautiful relationships, right? Of course, when it comes to developing cultural competence, what are the things to do? Of course, self-awareness. First of all, be aware of yourself. You need to, I think this phrase is very common, self-awareness. Self-awareness. What do I know about myself first? What do I know? Right? It will enable you to understand other people's culture. Like I said at the beginning, you are only the king of your culture. You are only the professional of your culture. You are not a professional of another culture, except you have learned, you have adapted, you have interacted, you have had experiential knowledge. Experiential knowledge is the knowledge that you have when you live and interact with the people different from your cultural setting in a particular culture. That experiential knowledge gives you first-hand knowledge. It's not even the one you learn from classes like this and all of those. When you have experiential knowledge, we are saying that you have lived and dined. You have understood the cultural nuances of these people. This is what even gives you a better self-awareness. All right. So one of the ways to develop cultural competence is self-awareness. Understanding one's cultural biases and beliefs is a foundation for cultural competence. Understanding the biases, we all have biases. We all have biases. We all have it. So once you understand this thing first, it will open you up to knowing that, hey, come on, I'm not the only one on earth. There are over 7 to 8 billion people on earth. And there is no way that the way I think can be the way other people think. So that is understanding one's cultural biases. Understand that first. That is the self-awareness we're talking about. Understand yourself first. Do you have biases? What biases do you have? Are you ready to open up yourself to receive new knowledge about another culture that is not yours? That is one way to develop cultural competence. Empathy. Empathy, feeling the way other people feel. Thinking the way other people think. Learning from their perspective. Being open to perspectives that are not yours. Empathizing with others' perspectives help in bridging cultural gaps. If someone is saying, in my community, when you visit a family house, the father is served first before any other person is served. If you go to a community where they say family eats together, and in your own culture, family don't eat together, when you visit your friend and if your friend takes you to their house and their culture, their norm, or their values, what they believe is that the family eats together. And because you have not been eating with your family, when you see such settings, empathy is saying, see from this person's perspective, not what you think. When you see, it helps you bridge cultural gaps. Rather, be inquisitive to learn more. When I visited the western part of Nigeria for the first time, that part is where the Yoruba people live. And the Yoruba people are they are a highly cultural people. And they do a lot of prostrating when they greet. When you're greeting an elder, you prostrate. When you're greeting an elder, you bow. And then you just have to learn it. I was taken aback, as to the new environment I found myself. I lived in a family house where every morning the children goes to greet the mother and father. Ekaro baba, ekaro mama, ekaro baba, ekaro mama. that kind of thing. And it was strange to me because for us, we don't do that like, for us from the South, it's not something we do like we go to our parents and greet them. No, it is when our parents comes out and we see them, we greet them. We don't go to their rooms to greet them, except we sleep in the same room. Then when we wake up, we say, good morning, daddy, good morning, mommy. But here, they go to their parents' room to greet them. And when they do, they prostrate or they kneel down. For us, we don't do that. We don't kneel down when we greet our parents. For us from the South, we don't kneel down when we greet our parents. We can sit down and talk to our parents. For us, it is okay. But some other places, when you talk to your parents, you kneel down. When you talk to your parents, I mean, there are various ways. You will see in that map about the Yoruba people. All right? So seeing, empathizing is about seeing other people's perspective. It will help us to build cultural competence skills. Adaptability. Flexible and adaptability are key for successful cross-cultural interactions. You have to be flexible. You don't have to be rigid. Be open to learn. Be open to learn. Be inquisitive. You should be like, wow, so this is how it is done. This is how it's done. That was the same experience I got. And the family was a Muslim family. I'm a Christian. The family was a Muslim family. So I didn't go there with my prejudices because it's like the Christians and Muslims are always having this misunderstanding, but because they housed me. I mean, how much more would I be thankful to people who housed me in a strange land I didn't know nobody? That was the first time I was going to school, myself and my younger brother. And the people who housed us were Muslims. All we needed to do was to thank them. And of course, be flexible to also understand that these people are Muslims. So they even the kids started teaching us how to sit and started teaching us how to say their prayers. Now, it's not because we want to really learn as per learn their prayers, but because you are in that house at that moment. You just have to be flexible to bridge that gap so that my biases won't make me disrespect the people who are housing me for that moment. So we started learning how to sit on the mat and started learning how to do the Bismillah, Bismillah, Rahim, something like that. Started learning that just to get connected, just to be flexible enough to bridge cultural and religious gaps. Remember, we mentioned factors that can affect cultural diversity, and religion is one of them. All right, so be adaptable, be flexible. When you go to a nation or a community that is not yours, be quick to learn, be open to learn. That is one of the ways to build cultural sensitivity and competence. All right, I'm trying to rush this class. Let's see what we can get out of this. If you are hearing me, type I hear you. If you are hearing me, type I hear you. If you're hearing me, type I hear you. All right, I see a baby chatting saying Namibia. Okay, yes. All right. If you're hearing me, type I hear you. Right. Let's continue. All right, so strategies for navigating global cultural differences. Strategies for navigating global cultural differences. These are the things that we need to look at if we really want to navigate cultural differences. Of course, we'll take a look at understanding effective cross-cultural communications. I'll still refer to that map. Let's go look at that map. But that map just gives us a very rich idea. But it gives us a rich idea. However, it pointed just a few things. You see, more like the general thing that you need to know. But you see, when you really want to get sound knowledge, a deep knowledge about a people, one of the ways to get that is that experiential knowledge. Where I'm living right now in the eastern part of Nigeria, I've lived here for 5 years. 5 years and counting, more than 5 years. So I've had experiential knowledge of the people from the eastern part of Nigeria, which are the Igbo. All right. So have lived in the south. I lived in the south almost all my life. Have lived in the south. Have lived in the western part of Nigeria. Now I'm living in the eastern part of Nigeria. So when I go to this part, the only part I've not lived in Nigeria is the northern part of Nigeria. Though I've had interaction with people from the northern part of Nigeria, but that's not enough. Understand, right? When opportunity comes, I may go there and want to live there and have a full perspective of what it means living in the northern part of Nigeria, the east, the west, and the south. So when I live within these towns or within these locations, I'll be able to understand, have a grasp. And so when you are coming to Nigeria, I can be able to tell you, people in the southern part of Nigeria behave this way, do business this way. People in the eastern part of Nigeria, this is how they do it, right? So understanding this, we need to understand verbal and non-verbal communication. We need to understand verbal and non-verbal communication, talking about the tone, body language, and the expressions. There are some nations that when you come close to them, it's an offense. Some nations, some cultures value space. Some African cultures value space. Some other African cultures value when people come close to them. The body language also plays a role. The way people express, there are people who are expressive, especially in the West. Some of them are expressive, very expressive. In Africa too, some of our customs are very expressive. So if you come from a nation that is not expressive a lot, and you meet people who are expressive, you might find it difficult to cope. But then understanding this will help you navigate global cultural differences. So the non-verbal cues and the verbal communication cues are a very great way of navigating global cultural differences. Your tone, the body language, and the expressions are very important. So understanding this is important. Active listening. You need to actively listen and seek clarification so that you can reduce misunderstanding, especially when you are in a culture where you don't really understand what they are doing. All right. In this study of navigating global cultural differences, there are cultures that are called, there's this abbreviation, how they call it. It's differentiated between high and low. So, okay, HCNs and LCNs, they are called high cultured nations and they are low cultured nations. All right. The high cultured nations are nations that place premium value, premium importance on the culture. For example, nations like China, nations like Saudi Arabia, and nations like Japan, North Korea, South Korea, and some of the, in fact, if not all of the Asian countries, if not all of the Asian countries, and some in the Emirates, are nations that are described as high culture nations. Then you see low culture, and then some part of Africa also, because Africans are very cultural people. They all fall under the high cultural nations. Then the low cultural nations, you mostly see Western countries fall under that, of course, like the US and some other countries in Europe, they fall under low cultured nations. Not because they don't have culture and values that they hold dearly, right? They do. However, much emphasis is not placed, and that is why some things can go. But in some other countries, especially in the high cultured nations, some things don't go. You don't meet a Japanese businessman and you don't do what you're supposed to do. You don't bow, not like bowing totally. You don't show expression of some of the norms, because some of these high cultured nations deal with respect and honor. These cultures, high cultured nations, deal with respect and honor. They are more focused on honor and respect, and they value it. So if a business counterpart, if an individual is not showing that respect and honor, it means that you are being disrespectful and you don't value them, and they may not want to do business with you, right? So that's just letting you know high cultured nations and low cultured nations. You might read up on that and see the division and see some of the countries that fall under these categories. All right, active listening is one of the ways that we can navigate. Understanding high cultured nations and low cultured nations will also enable us navigate through global cultural differences, right? One of those ways, of course, is avoiding stereotypes. I talked about self-awareness, taking off the biases you have. Stereotypes. What are stereotypes? Stereotypes are pictures. Stereotypes are images, preconceived thoughts you have about a certain group of people. So you've built that picture from nowhere. So you have stereotypes is about having a single-sided story of a people. A single-sided story of a people. And so nothing else you know about those people. So because you have that mindset, when you meet them, instead of you to appreciate the diversity they have and the beautiful things that can come as a result of the interaction, your stereotypic mindset is already set. So one of the ways to navigate cultural differences is avoiding stereotypes. Stereotype leads to misjudgments. You misjudge people, preconceived notions, prejudiced notions about people. What do you think about Ethiopians? What do people think about Americans? What do people think about Ivorians? What do people think about Ghanaians? What do people think about Nigerians? What do people think about any person from this world? Even in our own nations, what do we think about particular tribes? That is stereotype. That is being stereotypic. And it will lead to misjudgment and mischaracterization of a group of people. So if you want to navigate global cultural differences, one of the strategies is to avoid stereotypes. Avoid the single-sided story, the one-sided story. Some of the Western media have always put up a story of Africa being poor, poverty in Africa, wars in Africa. Africans are this. They are not developing. They are a cake. They are this. And so when you meet a child, maybe 12, 13-year-old child, what do you think of Africa? They will even ask you, is Africa a country? They will tell you, it's quote unquote, to be, without sounding disrespectful, it's a bush, because that is the single-sided story. Whoever must have told them, and that person who told them had a very a myopic view of Africa, a prejudiced view of Africa. But meanwhile, Africa is a great place. We have wonderful people here, and we have them in this class doing amazing things in their country. So when you have a single-minded idea about the people, you will not be able to navigate cultural differences. So build cross-cultural relationships. And that's why I'm friends with all of you right now. So if I don't have friends in Ethiopia, how do I know what's going to what is it about Ethiopia? If I don't have friends in Cote d'Ivoire, Ghana, Benin Republic, and other parts of the world, how will I know what is going on? So building cross-cultural relations is one very important way of navigating global cultural differences. Respect for others, values, and building trust and foundations in relationships. Right? So I give one example of a case study when it comes to navigating global cultural differences, especially when it relates to business. Okay, I want you to maybe you can screenshot this and take it as a case study. Now, October 13, 1996, McDonald's went into India. And when they went into India, of course, you know, they're known for their fast foods and all of the rest of them, the American thing, the European thing, the fast foods and all of those things. Now, in order for McDonald's to make impact and to be McDonald's in India, in 1996, when they came to India, they found out that some of the recipes, or most of the recipes that they are used to producing in other parts of the world, it's not the same with that of India. Most Indians are vegetarians. Most Indians don't eat pork. Most Indians don't eat meat. Most Indians don't do a number of things. So if McDonald's is a fast food is opening up a branch in India, then they need to also understand global cultural differences and adapt and be flexible in order for them to thrive in the business. And that is what they do. That's what they did. So in 1996, McDonald's, global fast food giant, faced significant challenges when entering the Indian market. India's diverse culture and dietary preferences posed a unique set of challenges. To cater to the local cuisine, to the local culture, McDonald's had to adapt. If I were you, I would underline that word adapt. Remember, I mentioned adapting. McDonald's had to adapt its menu significantly. So they didn't just bring their American style or European style of food. Because if they did that, McDonald's would have crashed in less than 1 month. Because who are you going to give fast food? Who are you going to give burgers? Who are you going to give food that is not associated with the culture? Culture is the totality of the people's way of life, including their dietary preferences, including everything they do. So food plays an important role in culture. Food is an aspect of culture. And that is why if I visit Ethiopia today, you will serve me food. And the food you will serve me is the kind of food that you eat. And what in that map, one of the countries, I think is it in Europe or one of the continents, they serve food in buffet style. When family want to eat, they serve it in buffet style. So if I go to such countries, because food is a significant part of the culture, you will serve me that. You will put a buffet style and serve me, and all of us eat together. So what McDonald's did was that they introduced vegetarian options, including the popular McAllo Tiki Burger, to accommodate the large vegetarian population in India. McDonald's had to be sensitive to cultural and religious practices, such as not serving beef, to respect the Hindu majority and not using pork in regions with a significant Muslim population. Muslims don't eat pork. So understanding this will also allow you to know what kind of food to serve. And this is just for business, all right? When I saw this example while I was researching this, I said this, I must share this, right? So we can go further and read about it. So businesses also must strive to understand this. And that is why they need professionals like us to advise them whenever they are opening up branches or doing new businesses in other countries. All right, as we round off tonight, what are the best practices for navigating cultural differences? Cultural humility, number one. Approach other cultures with humility and an open mind. Acknowledge that you may not fully understand or appreciate the depth of another culture's values and practices. Be willing to learn and adapt. Be willing to learn and adapt. Be willing to learn and adapt. First of all, take away the biases that you don't know. In fact, what is most important for other persons who see people who are genuinely interested in their culture or in their values, in the way of life, is that they don't want you to understand fully. They don't want you to know entirely what they do. What they want to see is that you are making an attempt to understand them so that you can flow with them in communication or any other thing. That is just what they want to see. Are you making an effort to learn them, to learn their culture, their values? They appreciate you more and they are willing to teach you more. But if you are not ready to adapt, if you are rigid like the rock of Gibraltar, then you are not being culturally sensitive. So one of the best practices is to be culturally humble. Be humble to learn. Be humble to understand that, hey, my culture is not the only culture in this world. So I have to learn other people's culture so we can live harmoniously. The next one is active listening. We mentioned active listening. Then the next one is cultural sensitivity training. Trainings like this, you need to attend cultural sensitivity training. And of course, consider undergoing cultural sensitivity training. Many organizations offer these programs. Of course, like Shieldfield is offering you right now, like I'm offering right now, to help individuals and teams develop cultural awareness and competence. Sometimes in this particular cultural sensitivity training, like I talked about experiential knowledge, it is even more interesting when someone who has had and has studied cultural nuances of different cultures teaches you, right? It's even more interesting. Build relationships. I've talked about that. In many cultures, building personal relationships is crucial before engaging in business or any other transaction. Take the time to get to know individuals on a personal level, right? Avoid stereotyping. I talked about that before now. Avoid stereotyping. Challenge your own biases and stereotypes. Treat each person as an individual rather than making assumptions based on their cultural background. We were all first individuals before our cultures, before where we come from. We are all created by God first as humans, not as an Ethiopian, not as a Nigerian, not as a Ghanaian. Do we get that? Somebody, if you get that, first type, we are all created by God first. We're all created by God. We're all created by God. If you get that type, we're all created by God as humans. We're all created by God as humans first, not our culture. We're all created by God first, not by our culture. Our culture did not make us. It was God that made us. Man made culture, not culture made man. All right? We're all created God as humans first. So when I interact with people who are not of the same culture and religion and geographical area, I see them from the lenses of this is going to be a human interaction. It's going to be a human interaction first. Let me see you as human. Then we'll begin to talk other things and begin to talk where you come from and where you don't come from. All right. When a baby reached out to me, I related with him first as a human being, as somebody, not as an Ethiopian first. I related with him first as a human being who was asking questions, seeking knowledge on protocol. Before I went ahead to ask, okay, having known you as a human being, what is the next step? The next step is identification. Where do you come from? Where are you reaching me from? So we can then broaden the discussion and relationships. So we're all created by God first. I need to see more of that. If we're still in the class, We have 12 participants in the class tonight. Big ups, big ups. So let us build relationships first, and of course, avoid stereotyping and challenge our own biases. Let us meet people first as human. All right. The next one is respect local laws and norms. Be aware of and respect laws, regulations, and cultural norms. Ignorance is not an excuse. Of course, we say ignorance is not an excuse before the law. If you go to a land and there are rules and regulations, please respect that law. Respect that law. You're not above the law. All right. Seek guidance if you're in doubt about the cultural behaviors of a people in a particular nation and in a particular country. Seek guidance from experts or colleagues familiar with the culture in question. All right. Feedback, encourage feedback, communication clarity, and that is it when it comes to best practices. All right. Finally, navigating global cultural differences is both a challenge and an opportunity. By recognizing the challenges, studying real-life case studies, and implementing best practices, individuals and organizations can build bridges of understanding across cultures. An interconnected world, cultural competence is not only a valuable skill, but also fundamental step towards fostering global cooperation and mutual respect. Embrace diversity, learn from one another, and let us celebrate the rich cultural tapestry that make our world so vibrant and fascinating. And that's why tonight I was so fascinated when I saw all of us dressed in our local attires, and looking so awesome and beautiful. Embrace diversity. You can't do it alone. So I'm stopping the screen sharing right now. I'm coming back to my video. All right. So let's embrace diversity and ensure that we collaborate across different boards, across different sectors, across different places. That is the end of tonight's class when it comes to navigating global cultural differences. Thank you so much, and God bless you real good. Questions, comments, contributions, and discussions. Let's give it up for everybody. Please let me see your digital claps. Let me see your digital claps if you learned tonight. Let me see your digital claps if you learned tonight. You can go to the comment section and do that. You can go to the comment section and do that if you learned tonight. Okay, I can see that of Lucien. Right. Let's go ahead. Put up our digital club. I can see that of our baby. I can see, yes. Let's go there. If you learned something tonight, let's appreciate. I need to just hold on a little bit. Let me take a cup of water. My voice is just hold on. Let me take a bottle of water. Ooh, shit. All right, so I'm back. Thank you so much. All right, so the floor is open. We can open up our mics. And when I mention you, of course, you can unmute your mic and make your comments and contribution concerning tonight's class, navigating cultural differences. You can also share. Right? Oh yes, I'm waiting. The floor is open. Questions, comments, contributions, appreciation, and general observation.
Sorry, Minabai, we can't hear you. I think there is some interruption. Maybe the mic use, I don't know.
Whoa, I can hear you.
Now it's fine. Now you are on.
All right, great. So comments, contributions, and general observations. And let's share. Yes. Let's be fast about it so we can all go to bed because it's pretty late. Moses, are you there? Okay, Abebe is coming up.
Okay. Thank you, Minabai. Thank you. The presentation, the material, the cases you shared, the case study issue about McDonald's in India. It was very interesting. These things are very important to know, especially to run international business. So for us, Ethiopia is an independent country which was not colonized by any Western country. So we don't have this cultural exposure to different cultures. And now the country is opening up for businesses from foreign countries. For example, the telecom sector, it was publicly owned by the government. Now it's open up for private telecom operators. So different cultures, different people are coming to Ethiopia. So knowing these things is very important for me as a person, especially as a person interested on the protocol issues. So the session was very awesome. Thank you very much, Minabai. We'll share, we'll spread these things. For the sake of time, I don't want to take much of your time, but this lack of knowledge on the cultural intelligence this cultural differences is a cause of conflict for Africa. As you mentioned, in Nigeria, we have different parts of the country where we have diverse culture. And, knowing these things is very important, even to maintain international peace and integrity. Thank you very much.
All right. Thank you very much, Mr. Bebe. All right. We're still taking comments. Lucien, you have comments? Abe Ashong, you have comments? Moses' iPhone. Is it the Moses in the burning bush? Moses' iPhone. I think I'm seeing you for the first time in this class. It would be great if we hear your voice and see your face as well. Dinsa, are you there?
Yeah, I'm here.
All right, go ahead.
Can I speak?
Yes, go ahead.
Well, thank you so much, Minabai. We learned it a lot. Actually, I'm great with your presentation. I'm happy to share these experiences from you. As Mr. Ababe already said, the cultural difference brought about different aspects on different minds of the people. So understanding the culture will actually reduce the misunderstanding of the people. And it also enables us to think globally, as it's not local, actually. So if we know the culture of each other, we can simply work with each other. We will understand each other. For example, the lesson you mentioned, the lesson you given us, like communication, is one of the best understanding of the culture of others. Actually, if we communicate, we can simply understand what others are actually think. So giving people's respect is one of the cultural things we have to think actually. So I'm happy to share with you these important lessons today. And I don't have any words actually to explain. I'm very in tough excitation. That is why I can't explain even. But I'm happy with your presentation. Thank you so much.
Okay, thank you so much, Adinsa, for that word. Okay, do we have anybody that wants to say anything before we go for tonight and get ready for the last session? Elijah, it looks like you are joining for the first time, and I'm seeing your name for the first time. Can you do us the favor by showing us your face and, of course, unmuting your mic? And let's get your thoughts on tonight's class. Okay. Elijah, unmute your mic.
Okay, good evening.
Yes, good evening.
It's actually not my first time.
Okay.
The first meeting I actually joined, and that was where you actually made a statement. You said we should understand that we work as a team. I recount you made an example of an incident which happened when there was a flat tire with one minister you were carrying,
Okay.
and the minister didn't know what was happening. Yes, but you kept it in place and everything, and you coordinated with the other members that they should ensure that the person is brought to safety at his or her destination. So I
Yeah.
think further more, today's meeting has really been an exciting one. It's been an eye-opening. It's amazing how you don't do much of a repetition, and there's always fresh from the ovens and fresh more for us to be accustomed with knowledge. And I'm sure with today's meeting, after it's posted online again, that is on YouTube, I definitely will make ends meet and go listen and watch all over, just like I've been doing with the past ones. Thank you once again. It's a blessing. I'm so honored. Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Elijah, and I really appreciate your comments.
You're welcome.
Okay? I really appreciate your comments. You're joining from Ghana?
Yes, I am.
Oh, awesome, awesome. I have a lot of Ghanaian friends here. Carl Camelin.
Awesome.
Where is Carl?
Okay. I see. That's fine. That's fine.
All right. Thank you so much, Elijah, and I really appreciate you.
You're welcome. You're
Okay.
welcome. You're welcome. You're welcome,
Wow.
sir.
Who else wants to make a statement? Lucian made a statement in the chat. He doesn't want to come up, but then let me read his comments. He said no comments. It's a brilliant presentation. Thank you very much, Lucian, for your kind words. Okay. Any other final word as we run off tonight? Any other final word as we run off tonight? Okay, so the last class is it's going to be more of an interaction class, and we will be looking at I'm trying to think of what we will look at, but I believe I'm going to share. But it will deal around the branding of your personality as a protocol professional or as a business professional or whoever you are, your personal branding. All right. So if you're a protocol professional, if whoever you are, whatever you do, we're talking about the personalized branding of yourself. How people perceive you, how they see you, how do you present yourself to the public as a protocol officer, as a protocol professional, as one who interacts with people in your organization. How do they see you? How do they relate with you? What comes to their mind when they think of you? That is what we'll be looking at. There is a lot to learn. You see, we keep learning every day and we can't just exhaust it. And that is what makes the learning process a journey and not just a means to an end, right? So thank you so much for joining tonight. Moses Lawrence, I need to hear you speak. Moses Lawrence, I need to hear you speak if you are not busy. But that's okay. Moses Lawrence, you came in like you just breezed in, saw your face a short while, and then you disappeared. Moses's iPhone. You don't want to say anything? Moses Lawrence, are you coming up right now? Moses Lawrence, I saw you unmute your mic.
Yeah, good evening all. I'm sorry,
Yes.
the network has been very, 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 very bad. I'm on duty. I went traveled to some remote area with my principal. So and this place, the network is really giving me headache here. So that is why I've just been going offline, coming offline, online. But I'm at leisure. I'm going to download the recorded part so I can go through it immediately I'm out of here. Thank you, sir. I really enjoyed the section though.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much. All right, ladies and gentlemen, it's been a beautiful time with you. It's been an amazing 3 weeks, amazing 3 weeks of serious learning, right? And I'm so excited that you stayed all through till this time. Next Wednesday is going to be the last session. Please, please, I'm making this appeal. Last session, let's all come on the live session. Let's all come up. Let's all show our faces, and so that we can take pictures. While the session is also going on, you can also be taking pictures as well. You can also be taking pictures. Hold on. While the session is going on, you can also be taking pictures. And then I want you to also go ahead after each session to share your experience, on the different social media platforms, so that people will know that you are really learning. That's how to spread the message. Because cohort 2 will be coming up pretty soon. Before the year runs out, sorry, my voice broke. I needed to do enough work. So cohort 2 will be coming up pretty soon. And the success of this system will determine a lot how much more persons will attend the second section. So let's go on social media. Take screenshots of each of the sections. You can go back to the YouTube, take a screenshot, think about the things you have learned, what you are learning so far, and how they have impacted you. That's how we spread. Can anyone not hear me anymore? Can anyone hear me?
Can you hear me?
All right. So let's go on social media and spread the good news. Let's spread it. Let's spread it. Let's spread it. Let's share. That is how we spread the good news. Let this good news come out like this is what is coming out from this part of the world, right? There are people who are eager and ready to learn. And there are people who are learning seriously. So let us share it, share our experiences. It will make other persons join the next session. And we want to have much more than we have here. 8 countries is good for a start. Over 50 something, about 50 something participants, right? So let's keep sharing it and let's invite a number of persons so that we can all learn. Like I said, I'm on a mission to spread the gospel of protocol. And it is through these little things, they say little drops of water makes a mighty ocean. It is through these little sessions that we can spread the word globally and make global impact. And we can understand and have a better knowledge of protocol here in Africa, that we don't have to always travel out of our countries and pay high fees for us to learn protocol knowledge. Though it's great, however, when we have our own homegrown products, it is better for us. Thank you so much, and God bless you. God bless you, and do have a beautiful night. I'm trying to remember the word for thank you, Geletoma.
Galatoma. Galatoma. Thank you so much.
Geletoma,
Thank you. God bless you. Bye-bye. Thank you. Galatoma.
All right. Do have a beautiful night. And of course, this session will be posted on YouTube. Take screenshots of these, post on your social media. Let's spread the word and let's have a good time. Next Wednesday is going to be the last session, and I look forward to seeing all of your faces. And let's have the best of protocol knowledge, business protocol, etiquette, and diplomacy, and spread the good news of what we need to. God bless you all. I love you all. And
Thank
see
you.
you.
Thank you.
Good night. Good night. Good night.
All right. Good night, sir.
Yes. Good night.
Good night.
Good night. Okay.